Hello, Lydia Joy here, functional nutritional therapy practitioner, back to chat about micro minerals, aka trace minerals. The other day I did a little quick video about the macro minerals. Now I'm back to talk about the micro minerals. And the reason why this is so important is because we learned in 1992 that the United States soil was depleted by about 85% in the last 100 years in the minerals. And so if the minerals aren't in the soil, it's not going to be in the food. Therefore, we won't be getting enough to run all our processes and have robust energy and good moods. And so it's really important to kind of take a minute to understand this so you can get a plan in place. And unfortunately, most of our medical doctors, who we always assume they know everything, never really talk to us about this part of our health, except for perhaps iron. So iron is a trace mineral I grew up hearing a lot about, and perhaps you did too. But the problem is when you isolate one mineral at the expense of all the others, you run into crazy disarray in your body. So while iron is very crucial, it's actually not, it's one of the minerals that's the least challenging to get if you are eating an omnivorous diet. So like, at least if you're eating a pretty good real food omnivorous diet. If you're eating a processed food diet, you are getting a lot of iron that's being used to fortify foods, and it's not a good form of iron. So we want to think about these kinds of things because there's bad forms of minerals and then there's good forms of minerals, and we need to take this into account, because if we get too much of the bad forms, it can really cause problems. So iron is important, but it is not the star player or anything like that, which is what we've likely heard. There's many other trace minerals that are crucial for our health, including zinc, and likely you've heard more about zinc this year, in particular in light of COVID. Everybody in the holistic health circles is preaching about zinc right now. I actually did an entire podcast episode on what you need to know before you supplement with zinc. It's a powerful mineral. It's a powerful antioxidant. It's super supportive to our immune function. But just because it is does not mean we should run out and take a whole bunch. All the trace minerals really need to be kind of taken in trace amounts together, first and foremost. And then later on, if you are able to test more thoroughly to see if you really need higher doses of any one mineral, that is the best plan before you go run out and take like 50 milligrams of zinc or something like that because you read somewhere it will boost your immune system. Well, it doesn't work by itself, and high doses can actually cause a lot of problems. You can go higher for short amounts of time if you really feel like that would help you, but never for very long. I highly don't recommend that. Then we have iodine, and iodine is really important. And unfortunately, we have a lot of things that kind of are enemies of iodine today. We have excess of chlorine and fluoride and bromide and all these things that compete for our ability to absorb any iodine we do get in our diet, in our salt. And so we have to kind of think about this strategically, but also carefully, because if we take too much iodine too quickly, it will kick out these enemies and cause a fuss on the way out. So it's always good to start really in small trace amounts and go slow. And again, in a collection of all the others. Selenium. Maybe you've heard about selenium this year. It's another good one for immune health. It's actually imperative if you have hypothyroidism and are on thyroid medication. It's not going to work without selenium. So that one's going to be really important for anyone like that. And it's definitely hard to get. And, come on, let's admit, eating Brazil nuts is not the solution either. Then we have copper. Copper has a huge role to play, and we don't hear a whole lot about copper, although I think it's becoming more known. And I did a whole entire series on copper, my podcast. The podcast is A Joy to Be Me, by the way. You can find it anywhere you listen to podcasts, on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, or Spotify. So I dug into the copper piece of our health in numerous podcast episodes. So if you want to nerd out, head on over. But copper has a synergistic relationship with zinc. And so if we take too much zinc and we're not thinking about copper, we could deplete ourselves in copper and have some really crappy symptoms, because copper is needed, but only in small amounts. And when we are deficient in it, it actually can cause big nervous system problems with our brain function and even our heart. It's also really important to have enough for our bones. So there's also a lot of ways we've been exposed to copper in a not so great form. So we have this conundrum where we want the forms that we need, that are healthy. And then we also have these bad forms we have to think about how to, support ourselves in light of as well. Manganese is another trace mineral. That one you probably don't hear a heck of a lot about. That one's really hard to get, really hard to absorb. And it's definitely one of the ones that's super depleted in our soil today. And it's really important for blood sugar, actually. Same with chromium. Chromium's another one. So you probably, if you're somebody who's dealing with blood sugar issues, maybe you have pre-diabetes or diabetes and you've started your holistic journey, maybe you read about chromium for diabetes, for blood sugar regulation. It helps enhance the action of insulin. So, it's really important to consider if you're pre-diabetic or diabetic. But again, we want all these trace minerals. We don't want to just isolate. And there is a time and a place for a higher dose of some of these things, but you want to be careful before you just jump to that and do it for any length of time without making sure you're staying balanced with all your other minerals. Molybdenum. Molybdenum's an interesting mineral, and it's a known detoxifier. It really helps us. It helps our liver just, detoxify. It also helps us process iron. And it's found in trace amounts in legumes, especially. Legumes are really, really high. It's one of my favorite ways to get molybdenum. And unfortunately, some of the trendier diets out there kind of have bad mouth and demonized legumes. So, there's a way to get legumes in small amounts and get the benefit of molybdenum. There's other sources too. But it's definitely one to be thinking about if you've ever been told you have iron deficiency anemia or something like that. Certainly could bump it up in your diet first before you run out and get a supplement. And then we have two more. We have silica or silicon. And this is really what everyone wants to get, healthy skin and hair and nails and stuff. It is, we can get a decent amount if we're eating a real food diet, but some of the best sources are like organ meats, which not everyone loves, and like dried fruits even. One of my favorite ways is to get it through like herbal infusions, horsetail, nettles, things like that. So it's really great. It can really help you feel like your skin and nails are improving. I think a lot of people call it the beauty mineral. Maybe you've seen who's that famous model? There's a famous model, Claudia Schiffer. No, what's the other one? I forget. She kind of promotes a silica product, and it's all for beauty. Lastly, boron. Boron is definitely super depleted in our soil. It is a very interesting mineral to me. It plays a role in your bone health. It's a cofactor for magnesium. It really is a cofactor for vitamin D as well. So, you know, you can get a decent amount of boron in your diet. Strangely, it's like really high in raisins. I have talked about a lot about nettles infusions. I think I posted about it recently in the feed. You can check that out. I think you can get about 1 to 3 milligrams a day if you drink about a quart of nettles infusions of your boron. And that's one of my favorite ways to help people get a nice mineral hit for their health without running out and buying supplements first until you know more about your specific mineral balance. But anyway, those are the trace minerals and a quick high-level overview of them. I hope you found this helpful. And if you really want to know kind of how to put a whole plan in place for your health to remineralize your body, because our soil is depleted, y'all. So we are too. We don't have enough minerals on board, most of us. It can be challenging. So I put together a mini program, and that can be found in my link. You can get my link in bio, you can get the details there. It is just a way for you to learn step by step how to create a lifestyle and dietary plan to remineralize your body so you can have awesome health. And, you know, it is pretty straightforward, but we have to kind of relearn a lot of things and undo a lot of things in our bodies. So I highly recommend you check that link out. It's on sale for another month. You can join now and start going at your own pace, learning the lessons that are already there, and join the community of people who have already jumped in. Feel free to DM me if you have questions, and save this video or share this video with someone you think might also want to learn about this as well. All right, that's it for now. Bye, guys.